Sometimes the problem isn't that life is hard. Sometimes the problem is that life is finally getting easier, and your body doesn't know what to do with that. Sometimes the discomfort isn't coming from stress, it's coming from the absence of stress, the absence of urgency, the absence of always having to prove that you can handle it. Because when you've spent years surviving, adapting, pushing through, and holding everything together, survival can start to feel like who you are. You become the woman who always figures it out, the woman who doesn't fall apart, the woman who keeps going, no matter what. And then one day, you move abroad, or you create more freedom, or life finally gives you a little more peace. And instead of feeling relieved, you feel unsettled. Not because anything is wrong, but because the version of you that was built around survival doesn't know where she belongs in a softer life. And what looks like discomfort on the surface is often an identity shift happening underneath. I'm Tori Prophet, a licensed therapist and creator of Soft Landing Circle. And one thing I notice often with Black women navigating relocation, reinvention, and major life transitions is that what appears to be difficulty adjusting to a new life is often connected to something much deeper happening beneath the surface. Sometimes the question isn't, can I create a better life? Sometimes the question is, who am I when I finally have one? Many women imagine that peace will feel immediately peaceful, that once they leave the environment that exhausted them, everything inside will settle. But that's often not how it works. Because your nervous system adapts to what is familiar, not necessarily what is healthy, just familiar. And for many Black women, familiar has looked like responsibility, pressure, performance, endurance. So when relocation happens, or reinvention happens, or life finally gives you breathing room, something unexpected can come up. Not relief, disorientation. And it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because the version of you that survived so much may not know who she is without something to survive. Many women don't describe this as identity grief. They say things like, I should be happier. I finally have what I wanted. Why can't I relax? But underneath those questions is often a deeper one. If I'm not working so hard, if I'm not holding everything together, who am I allowed to be? That question can feel vulnerable because holding everything together may have become the place where your value lived, the place where your strength lived, the place where your purpose lived. Not because responsibility is who you are, but because you've spent years being rewarded for carrying it. And for some women listening, this lands in the body immediately. Because part of you wants the soft life, and part of you is still waiting for proof that it's safe. Not because you're negative, not because you're broken. Your body simply learned that alertness was necessary. And just for a moment, notice the part of you that keeps scanning for the next problem, the next responsibility, the next thing that might need you. And then notice the part of you that wants peace, the part that's tired, the part that wants to rest, but may not fully trust rest yet. You don't have to force anything. Just notice both parts. The part that learned to stay ready, and the part that is learning it may finally be safe. What often goes unseen is that survival identities don't disappear automatically, even when circumstances change. The woman who always had to be strong may keep being strong long after strength is required. The woman who learned not to need anyone may keep refusing support even when support is available. The woman who was praised for holding everything together may feel uncomfortable when life no longer requires her to perform endurance. Survival patterns travel. Sometimes they travel across oceans. Sometimes they travel into entirely new lives, which is why relocation is often not just geographical. It's identity work. You are not only adapting to a new country, you are adapting to a new version of yourself. And your nervous system has never met her before. What if the problem isn't that you're struggling to adjust? What if you're just adjusting to a version of yourself you've never met before? What if you're learning how to be a woman who doesn't have to earn rest? What if you're learning how to receive support? What if you're learning how to choose peace without proving you deserve it first? What if you're learning how to exist outside of constant endurance? Because maybe the goal was never to become stronger. Maybe you've already done enough of that. Maybe the invitation now is becoming supported, becoming safe, becoming whole. So here's one question I want you to carry gently. Not solve, just notice. Where in my life am I still trying to prove I deserve ease? Not so you can judge yourself, just so you can begin to see the places where survival may still be asking you to perform. The truth is, many women don't realize how much of their identity was built around survival until life starts offering them something softer, something slower, something more spacious. And that adjustment deserves compassion because you're not losing yourself. You are meeting parts of yourself that survival never gave you time to know. If this conversation resonated with you, Soft Landing Circle was created for Black women navigating exactly these kinds of transitions. Women who are rebuilding lives across countries. Women who are carrying more than most people realize. Women who want support without losing themselves. You'll find the link below in the description because you are worthy of support and you do not have to carry everything alone.